بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله، وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين الأبرار الميامين المظلومين المضطهدين. السلام عليك وعلى ولدك المظلوم أبي عبد الله الحسين، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا غريب يا مظلوم يا عطشان كربلاء، ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم، أمن من لجأ والتجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا فيا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا جاءهم أمر من الأمن أو الخوف أذاعوا به ولو ردوه إلى الرسول وإلى أولي الأمر منهم لعلمه الذين يستنبطونه منهم ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته لاتبعتم الشيطان إلا قليلا. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد. والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers and sisters, عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا أبي عبد الله الحسين، وجعلنا الله تعالى وإياكم من الطالبين بثأره بين يدي الإمام المنصور المؤيد المهدي من آل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. I want to begin by again thanking Ma'soomeen Islamic Center, Mukhi, all of my dear brothers for showing me so much kindness, love, hospitality, and giving me the honor and the privilege to be here to commemorate with all of you. Thank you. And I pray for all of you, and I ask that you pray for me, and I ask that you forgive any shortcomings from me, inshallah. May we all take steps towards Al-Imam Abi Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam. And indeed, we are in Karbala, every one of us today, inshallah. Our hearts are in Karbala.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا
حسين. لبيك يا حسين. لبيك يا حسين. محمد وآل محمد صلى الله
عليه وسلم. I mentioned to you last night that we do not want our hearts to die. And unfortunately, hayat ad-dunya is this. And the Quran describes the life of this world as وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ وَزِينَةٌ وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ. This life of this world is a play, it's an amusement, it is a mutual boasting and pridefulness on what I have and don't have, accumulation. That's all it is. And the common risk of these practices, of these activities that the Quran is describing is a characteristic of the life of this world, is that it causes either your heart to go to sleep, or worse, it causes your heart to die. And that is why doing the ihya of the majlis of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam is absolutely necessary. It is required. It is needed because it keeps our hearts alive. It allows us to see the world in its clarity and in its reality. And today, the proof of that is that who are standing up for the oppressed in the world? It is the Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. It is the Shia of Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. It is because it is sewn into our fabric that no matter what happens in the world, we will not allow our hearts to die. We will not go to sleep. Maybe we are few in number, maybe we don't represent the majority, but we stand up for justice, we stand up for truth, we defend the powerless. And that's why we must continuously repeat the words of the Quran. The Quran is everything for us. And the Quran, it reminds us that recite in your dua, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. أحسنتم. You all know this dua, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا. زَيْغَ الْقَلْبِ, what this ayah is describing, is so beautiful. And I mentioned to you 2-3 nights ago that even in Surah Al-Fatiha, what are we doing? We repeat it over and over in our salat. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Mustaqim in English, when you translate, it means straight, but is not exactly the translation of this word mustaqim. Because if you look at another ayah of the Quran, and let the Quran explain the Quran. You don't need to hear from me, I am nobody. But let the Quran explain. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. This mustaqim, what does this word mean? إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا. This word istaqamu, what does it mean? They declared that Allah, you are our Lord. But it didn't stop. Is it enough just to say Allah is our Lord? No, every Muslim says Allah is our Lord. But those who say Allah is our Lord, thumma, then they were firm on that path. Istaqamu means they are firm, they don't move off of that path. That's why when you say ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, we are saying, Ya Allah, we are prone to falling off of that path, keep us firm on it. It is the path of firmness, it is the path that you don't fall off of. So when you say from the ayah, and I've already given you 2 ayahs, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم and إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا, second ayah. Now look how Quran will connect it. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا. Look at this dua, that Ya Allah, you have guided us, don't let us go astray. We think because we're guided, that's it, Jannah already is automatic for us. But this ayah says otherwise. It says, Allah, you guided us, but there is the risk that what's going to happen? We could go astray. Or maybe our hearts could go to sleep. Or worse, our hearts could die because we get consumed by the life of this world, by our own ego, our own greed, our own desire, everything. So when the ayah says, Rabbana, la tuzigh qulubana, zayg al-qalb, it is al-maylu anil istiqamah. In Arabic, when you say zayg, la tuzigh qulubana, its meaning is al-maylu anil istiqamah. It means to drift away from being firm. So when you're asking Allah, la tuzigh qulubana, you're saying, Ya Allah, don't allow us to drift away, lean away from being firm. Not move away completely even. Just don't allow us even to lean away slightly from the path of firmness. And that is what kills us. Those who are on the path of Allah truly, sincerely, and are of the people who are mukhlasin, as the Quran describes, they never will move even one speck to the side from the path. We are not like this. And that's why today, the world is the way the world is, isn't it? And you see that this world in which we live today, it is extremely ugly. It is extremely ugly, it is extremely inhumane, it is extremely immoral. But I ask you, is it any different than it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago? We already established that when there were only 4 individuals on the earth, one of those individuals murdered the other. There were only 4 human beings, and murder already was part of the landscape. So maybe there was a foreshadowing for us that things are going to happen, bloodshed will happen. Be aware, don't fall asleep, because it happened in the beginning of the time, it will probably continue till the end of the time. And it is up to you, people of belief, people of istiqamah, people who are standing firm on that path, to not fall asleep, not die, not allow it to go unchecked. At least deny it in your hearts. At least don't accept it, because that fasad is so corrosive, it's so corrosive that it will destroy everything around you. That fasad, that's why the Holy Quran, what does it say? ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. Fasad has spread in the earth, corruption has spread in the earth. Why? Because people's hands have done things what they should not have done. And it is so grievous that we should not allow it to go unnoticed by us. Any kind of fasad, my dears. Quran did not qualify the fasad. Quran said fasad. It didn't say fasad restricted to this group of people or that group of people or this population of people. It said any fasad should not go unrealized, unaccounted for, unchecked, and your minds are asleep when it comes to it. After the Battle of Safin, when the arbitration had finished, everything had happened, they say Muawiyah, la'natullahi alayh, he gathered a group of 6,000 soldiers. And with these 6,000 soldiers, he commanded them to descend down from Damascus to go towards Hit, towards Al-Anbar in Iraq today. And he said, go, and Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam has some soldiers there. Go sack that city. Attack it, ransack it, take its possession, attack. He was bloodthirsty. He didn't care. The history says he sends these 6,000 men. As they approach Hit has nobody. Everyone is abandoned. They heard the armies coming. They abandoned. Everyone has gone to Al-Anbar. They reach Al-Anbar. The 6,000 soldiers of Muawiyah la'natullahi alayh are standing there. Imam Ali alayhi salam has garrisoned 500 men at Al-Anbar. These 500 men, many of them, they see this grand army of 6,000 coming to assault, to attack them. They say approximately 400 of them run for their lives. They run. Now you know the loneliness of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the loneliness of Al-Hasan al-Mujtaba, the loneliness of Al-Husayn ibn Ali. That in the stand against oppression and tyranny, only the strong will stand with you. And that Imam is left so alone, that Imam is left so alone. So 400 men run, the 100 who are courageous to stand, they are killed. They are killed by these 6,000 soldiers. Not only that, but the Rawi, the historians, the Mu'arrikhin, they say the soldiers of Muawiyah, they enter Anbar, they ransack everything. They destroy everything. And not only that, but when the news reaches Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. He climbs the pulpit. And the history describes, the way they describe Amir al-Mu'mineen is like shaking out of anger, out of what has happened. And he says, and I'm paraphrasing this for you, he says to the people, stand and get ready to go out and meet. Stand and get ready to go and meet what has happened, this oppression that has taken place, this violence that has taken place. Stand up to go and fight. Go and prepare yourselves. And as he says this, women have, he's describing, he says women have been attacked in Anbar. Their possessions have been taken. The rings have been taken from their legs and from their wrists and from their ears. Karbala was no different. And you know what he says after that? He says, if any person were to hear about the tragedy of Al-Anbar, of the oppression and the merciless killing of innocent human beings, the person would weep and cry out of grief so much that they would desire to die. And they would be justified to feel that, because the crime is so severe. Look how he is teaching us. This is not happening today. It's happening on such a grand scale in front of our eyes, my dears. And we should not allow it not to bring a tear to our eyes. Doesn't matter if 2 years, 2.5 years have gone by, 3 years, 10 years. We should not fall asleep. We should not fall asleep. We should not let our hearts go to sleep. We should not become numb and insensitive to this, to anything, any injustice. Injustice against any human being. Any innocent human being should not fall on deaf ears to us or blind eyes. And that injustice can be anything. It can be any type of injustice. Violence is the worst kind of injustice you can find. The killing of somebody, the robbing of their health, maiming of their bodies. This is the worst kind of injustice you can imagine to see in your lifetime, in front of your eyes, everywhere that it is. But what does the Quran say? The Quran says, Al-fitna ashaddu min al-qatl. Look, in one place it says fitna, corruption, is worse than killing. Fitna is worse than killing. And the mu'arrakhin, the people who comment on this ayah, they say, how can corruption be worse than killing somebody? Because they say, if you kill that person, at least that person has left and gone to Allah. But with fitna, you're not allowing them peace in the life of this world. And on top of it, you're not killing them so they can be free and go to Allah, to the next world, to the akhirah. So fitna in this sense can be worse than qatl. And we see this in the world today. Oppression is not just the killing of people. It's not just denying them food and water. Those are gross violations of humanity. Indeed, they are. But my dears, we live in a world, in a system where we become blind to the plight of other individuals. Where if we have access to education, we have achieved our goals, we have reached where we wanted to with our careers, with our jobs, with our homes. And because we have done so, we have forgotten about those people who don't have access. My dears, marginalization is an oppression. Denying people access to education is an oppression. Denying people opportunity to have livelihoods is an oppression. Not allowing people to choose for themselves. I ask you this, that if I were to tell you, I am going to make every choice for you in your life, you will have no choice of your own. Will you accept this? You will never accept it. Nobody will accept this. No human being will accept somebody else to choose for them. And no human being should. Allah has made us free. He has allowed us to choose. But tell me, every human being in the world has the right to choose for themselves? They do not. Maybe they don't have the right to choose because they've been oppressed directly, or maybe the system in which they live, the world in which they live, has designed it in such a way that they cannot. And unfortunately, you know what we do sometimes, and there are studies that show this, we who have achieved, quote unquote, we who have become educated and have our money and our careers and our homes, we look at those who are poor, and in our mind the thought comes that it's probably because he's not working hard enough. That's why he hasn't reached to where I am today. Is it not? We sit on our pedestals and this is how we think. And this is oppression. This is oppression in our mind, my dears. Because our A'imma al-Athhar were never like this. Because even the slaves who would come into the company of the Imams, Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu was salam, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He will purchase the slaves just like his grandfather. He will purchase the slaves, he will educate them, teach them, and then release them into the world. Free them and release them. It's in the records. And if you don't believe even that, the historical record, the proof of it, go read Risalat al-Huquq. In Risalat al-Huquq, he has one risala, one letter, one treatise that has the rights of the slave. Saying what? First thing he says, neither did you bring him into this world, nor do you own him. He is the property of Allah, just like you are the property of Allah. Your job as his brother is to support him and help him. No? And so it behooves us that if we are the followers of the legacy of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salatu was-salam, that we do not have a hand in any form of oppression. Forget about violence, forget about killing, forget about robbing and taking the food of people or physically harming people. I'm talking about other forms of oppression, my dears. Whether that is marginalization, rendering people to become powerless and not having their own choice, or even exploiting people for what they can offer to us. Small forms of oppression that destroy society, that don't give everybody their right, that don't cause people to thrive. That's why I say this to you, and I go to the musibah, that whatever opportunity Allah has given me, any chance, even a smallest of chance, smallest of door that He has opened for me, I must ensure that I have opened that same door, however small it is, for somebody else. Because if I did not fulfill the full value of that gift that God gave to me. I restricted it to myself and it stopped there. Therein lies the big problem. We must, if we are educated, we must educate others or give them the opportunity to get educated. If we have jobs, we must help others who don't have jobs find jobs. If we have equal access to something and someone does not, we have to ensure they have access to it. This is the legacy of Ahl al-Bayt. This is Quran, my dears. This is what Imam Hussein died for on the battlefield of Karbala, is that Quran. And you know this, that the Banu Umayyah, they did not just want to inflict harm on Ahl al-Bayt, they wanted to break the will of the Shia, right? By oppression, by squeezing on them, by denying them a pulpit, denying them their rights, preventing them to their properties. Even in war, you deal with people with humanity, with honor. Even in war, your prisoners you have to deal with honor. What does the history say? That after leaving Karbala, the Sabaya, the prisoners, are tied with ropes, chains around their necks. They are taken to Kufa. In Kufa, they spend a week, little over a week. After Kufa, they are now summoned by Yazid la'natullahi alayh to Damascus. In those days, the road from Kufa to Damascus, there were three routes, three possible routes to go. The first is the direct route, straight route. Kufa, straight to Damascus, straight one line. There was another route that went up the Tigris River, the Dajla. Up the Dajla, around and come across the desert into Sham, a little longer. And then there was a very long route, 2,100 kilometers, 2,100 kilometers. This is historical fact. Went up the Euphrates, up towards Turkey, into southern Turkey, across Turkey, and then descending southwest down into Damascus, all the way up, 2,100 kilometers. It passed through somewhere between 30 and 40 residential areas, villages, towns. So what does Yazid do? He tells the men of Umar ibn Sa'ad, those who are bringing them, that bring them on the longest route you can, 2,100 kilometers. Walk them and bring them purposefully through these towns, through these villages, so that people can look at them. Look at the oppression. Look at the hatred. Not only that, they made them walk 160 kilometers a day. Every day. It took them 13 days. Do the math. 13 days from Kufa to Sham. 160 kilometers every single day. Until finally they get to Damascus. Now look how the Fasiq Yazid plans, and Allah has a different plan. He assumed that these soldiers will bring the women and the children and the Sabaya, of whom you have Al-Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Some reports say there were two other men with Imam Sajjad. They were servants, attendants, who had survived. They were with Imam Sajjad. So maybe three men. Children, amongst them Al-Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, Sukayna bint Al-Husayn. Other little children are there. 20 women. 20 women. So what did they do? They chained them together. They put the women, the prisoners in the middle, surrounded them with a regiment of soldiers on all sides of them. On all sides of them, and made them march in the desert. 13 days. 160 kilometers per day until finally they get to Sham. But the expectation was that as they come through these towns and these villages in Iraq, or as they go through Turkey, or as they go through Syria, what is Syria today, that the people will ridicule. They'll say prisoners, they'll throw garbage at the prisoners. It backfired. The people saw the cruelty of Yazid's army, that they started to pelt the soldiers with stones. They saw that who are these prisoners other than just women and children? These are not warring men. They're just women and children that have been taken as prisoner, tied with chains and ropes around their hands. So the people of these villages got so angry. Some of those villages were Christian villages. They were not even Muslim villages. They will pick up the rocks and they will pelt the soldiers. And they will deny them access to their village. They said, you are not allowed to stop here as long as you are doing this. And the soldiers would go forward. One of the places where they stopped in a place where they placed the head of Al-Imam al-Hussein. And there is a story about a Christian monk who came, who took the head of Al-Imam al-Hussein, wiped the head of Al-Imam al-Hussein, and he became a Muslim with the name of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. And you see how they come now, all the way up to Sham. My dears, in Sham, the Rawi, he says, they come to a door called Bab al-Tuma. Bab Tuma. Tuma was a disciple of Isa alayhi salam. He was known. They had named this door, this entranceway into Sham by him. They stop at this door. They say, Kulthum, she looks at Shimr. She says to Shimr, Shimr, don't make us wait here. Take us to another door that is not so crowded. There's not so many people here. Take us to a side door, a side entrance. Take us through there so the eyes of the people don't look at us. They say, Shimr, not only does he keep them on this crowded door, the main door, he brings the head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and places it right in between them. So they will look at the head and they will look at these women who are standing there. You see the difficulty of these moments, my dears. And Yazid was a cruel man to his heart. And nothing he did was of any sincerity, any benevolence. It was evil and cruelty down to the last, absolute last. Our Sabaya, when they finally are given the release to leave Damascus and to return, they say Yazid brings Al-Imam al-Sajjad forward. He says to Al-Imam al-Sajjad, I would like to compensate you. I want to compensate you because of the trouble you have gone through. Now he's feigning, you can see. He is a faker. He is somebody who's despotic and lying. And he says, I want to compensate you with wealth. Al-Imam al-Sajjad, he says, no, I don't want any of this. I just want three things from you, Yazid. Yazid says, what? It's reported Al-Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, he says, I want you to ensure that the daughters of Rasulullah are escorted back to Medina unharmed. That you take them back from Sham to Medina, to our home, without any harm coming to them. Number two, give me the property that we had with us when we came to Karbala and when we were taken prisoner. Return back to us our property. Yazid la'natullahi alayh, he says, as for your first request, you will be accompanying them. You can ensure that they will be safe. Nothing will happen to them. They will be released and you will be released with them. You will go with them so they will be safe and they will be ensured safety. Number two, he says, why do you want your property back? He says, I am willing and ready to give you compensation more than your property, more than the value of your property. I will give you compensation, gold, silver, whatever it is, I will give it to you to repay you for your losses. Al-Imam al-Sajjad, he says, we don't want any of your gold or your silver or your wealth or your compensation. Yazid, he says, why? He says, what is so valuable about your property that you have brought? He says, in it are things that my mother Fatima gave to me. There are things that belong to my mother Fatima al-Zahra. Just return these things to us. Yazid says, go, I will give it to you. Sayyid al-Sajjad, he says, the last request, oh Yazid, give me back the head of my father al-Hussein. Give me that head back. And Yazid, after resisting, relents so that Al-Imam al-Sajjad can return the head back with the body into the grave. But I ask you now, of all those who suffered, and indeed they all suffered, is there any suffering like the suffering of Zainab al-Kubra? On the day of Ashura, when everyone has gone to the battlefield and nobody is left, what does the Rawi say happens? Al-Imam al-Husayn, walking between the tents, preparing to go to the battlefield, calls out, من يقدم لي جوادي ونبن رسول الله, who is going to bring me my horse so I can go out and fight? Nobody answers. He says, من يقدم لي جوادي ونبن علي المرتضى, who will bring for me my horse? And I am the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Still there is silence in the tents. Finally, Al-Imam al-Husayn, he says, من يقدم لي جوادي ونبن فاطمة الزهراء, who will bring for me my horse so I can go to the battlefield? I am the son of Fatima al-Zahra. The flap of the tent, it opens. A lady, she comes out. She says, Akhi ya Hussein, ya nur aini liman tunadi, jarahta qalbi. My brother, oh Hussein, who are you calling? There is no one left in these tents. You have burned my heart with your call. Sayyida Zainab, she comes out of the tent. Imam Hussein is ready to bid her farewell. She says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, li ilayka thalath talibat. I have 3 requests of you before you go out to the battlefield. Al-Imam al-Hussein, he says, what is it? Tell me, my sister, Ya Ukhayya Ya Zainab. Sayyida Zainab, she says, أما الطلبة الأولى أن تدعو لي أن الله يعينني على تحمل رزاياك وعلى تنفيذ وصاياك. I ask you, my first request, my brother, Ya Hussein, pray that Allah gives me the strength that I can fulfill your directives, fulfill what you have asked me to do, and that I am able to bear your laws. Al-Imam al-Hussein, he says, I will. What is the second request? Sayyida Zainab, she says, أما الطلبة الثانية إنك قادم إلى جدي وأمي وأبي وأخي فَقْرَأْهُمْ عَنِّ السَّلَامِ. My brother, you are going and you will be meeting our grandfather Rasulullah very soon. You will see our mother Fatima. You will see and be reunited with our father Ali and our brother Hassan. Give them my salam. Give them the salam of Zainab. Imam Hussein, he says, Ya Ukhayya Ya Zainab, I will. Finally, Sayyida Zainab, she says, Amma talibatu thalitha. As for the third request, Ikshif li an sadrika wa nahrik. My brother, oh Hussein, open your shirt. Let me see your chest and your neck. Imam Hussein, he says, my sister Zainab, why do you want me to open up my shirt? She replies to him, she says, Ya Aba Abdullah, do you remember the day when our mother Fatima was dying? Lying on her deathbed, I came to her. She pulled me aside when I was alone with her. She said to me, Ya Bunayya Ya Zainab, a time is going to come when there will be no one with Al-Hussein other than you. Everyone will be gone from this world. When he comes to bid you farewell, shummihi li fi sadrih وَقَبِّلِهِ لِي فِي نَحْرِهِ. When he comes to bid you farewell, my daughter Zainab, smell the fragrance of his chest for me. Give him a kiss on his neck from your mother Fatima. Imam Hussein, he opened the shirt. Sayyida Zainab, she smelled the fragrance of the chest, where the spears are going to come and strike the chest of Al-Hussein. She kissed the neck, where the swords are going to strike the neck of Al-Hussein. And then Sayyida Zainab turned in the direction of Medina. She says, Ya Ummah, Ya Fatima, لقد نفذت الوصية وأديت الأمانة. My mother, O Fatima, I fulfilled your request to me. Whatever you told me to do, I have done. Imam Hussein in the battle of Karbala, only that one set of eyes are watching him going. It is as if even after the body of Al-Imam Al-Hussein lying on the ground of Karbala, and the voice of Sayyida Zainab, وَكَأَنِّي بِسَيِّدَتِي وَمَوْلَاتِ زَيْنَبَ الْكُبْرَى, as if she is calling out and saying, what can I tell you, my brother, Ya Hussein? I watched you ride up to the hillock by yourself. I watched you call out, my brother, هَلْ مِن نَاصِرٍ يَنْصُرُنَا. I heard you calling, هَلْ مِن ذَبٍّ يَذِبُّ عَنْ حَرَمِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Nobody answered your call. I watched you do battle against the enemy soldiers, fighting them one by one. My brother, my eyes, the eyes of Zainab, saw the arrow of Harmala fly from the bow, strike into your chest, the wound now spilling blood into your hand. My brother, I saw you as they surrounded you from every side. My brother, I saw as they came and struck you on your arm and severed it from the body. My brother, Zainab saw as you fell to the ground and Shimr came. My brother, I saw you as Shimr sat on your chest. My brother, I saw as he took your beard in his hand. This same Sayyida Zainab, listen my dears, listen, it is the day of Arba'in. It is the day of Al-Hussein and Zainab. This same Zainab, after being released from Kufa and going to Sham, descending with the caravan from Sham, finally arriving into Karbala on the day of Arba'in. As she enters into Karbala, each one of the ladies now are looking for the graves of their loved ones. Layla, she comes and asks, she says, where is the grave of Ali al-Akbar? She says, Dullani ila qabri waladi Ali. Tell me, where is the grave of Ali? They take her to that grave. Farwa Ramla, she comes and asks, where is the grave of Qasim? Tell us, where is the grave of Qasim? They come and they bring her to the grave of her son. Even the grave of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, even that grave they must have gone to it. But the Rawi, he says that Sayyida Zainab, she only sat on one grave, as if she were saying to that grave, open now and allow my brother to come out. My brother, 40 days have gone. We have returned. We have come back to you, my brother, after 40 days. What can we tell you that has happened to us? We have only felt the whips on our backs. We have felt the strikes of the spears on our skin. The earrings were stolen from our ears. What can we tell you, Ya Aba Abdullah, about Sukaina? She is not here with us because we have buried her in the grave in Sham. My dears, what is this reunion between brother and sister? Even after those days in Karbala, meeting with Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, finally returning to the city of their grandfather Rasulullah. The Rawi, he says, وَكَأَنِّي بِهِمْ وَهُمْ يَدْخُلُونَ مَدِينَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. How must have been the entrance of Ahl al-Bayt back into Medina? Where must they have gone? Whose home did they go to? Who did they visit first to tell about what had happened to them in Karbala? Who would they go and speak to? Maybe al-Baneen, maybe Hani, one of the aunts of the Bani Hashim. Maybe they would have gone to somebody else like Muhammad al-Hanafiya. Maybe they would have gone, but I think the Rawi, and in my heart and in your hearts, I'm sure you think the same. They went to the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, fell upon that grave and said, Ya Jadda, we have returned. We have come back to tell you the news of your grandson Al-Hussein. And from there, they must have gone to the grave of Fatima Zahra to complain on the grave of their mother Fatima, and maybe Sayyida Zainab on the grave of Fatima. She says, Ya Ummah, لقد قتلوا ولدك الحسين في كربلاء. My mother, they killed your son Al-Hussein in Karbala. وكان عطشانا مطروح على أرض كربلاء. Thirsty, blood-soaked body on the ground of Karbala. And maybe she pulled out the shirt of Abi Abdullah, the blood-soaked shirt, placing it on the grave of Fatima, showing her what is remaining of Abi Abdullah. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك بحق الحسين وبحق دم الحسين وبحق عطش الحسين، فرج عنا يا الله فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر وهو أقرب من ذلك، وافرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. يا حسين